is Shane Thompson, the member for Nahende. During the 2023 wildfire season, I was the Minister for ECC and Minister of Municipal and Community Affairs. So if it wasn't burning, we were dealing with the evacuation. So like we're dealing with fires and then evacuations.
Let's talk about the Yellowknife evacuation.
Okay.
I'm wondering how that unfolded for you and your staff.
That day there, when we did this state of emergency, everybody thought it was Yellowknife, and that was why we did it. No, it wasn't. It was a Nuvik. We were looking at resources that might be taken out because companies had other commitments. We had situation in Hay River and Fort Smith, then Yellowknife, and what people didn't seem to understand is Yellowknife was the evacuation center. So everybody from Fort Smith and Hay River were coming here, or Fort Providence. And so when we were looking at this here and what would happen, we had 60 elders from Hay River and Fort Smith. So that was the first priority for health and social services, plus the hospital. And we had a window of opportunity, and it was 72 hours, I think, or 48 to 72 hours, I think it was. And so we started looking at it, and when we finally made the decision, it was based on all the evidence. It was moving. Like even probably about 4 hours before that, it was, okay, we're good right now. And then it was like, we're not good. And so decisions had to be made. And I'm very comfortable with the decision made. I'd make that every day and twice on Sunday. If there was one thing that I would have wished we could have done, would have probably been having that same window of opportunity for Hay River.
Do you think then that the evacuation of Yellowknife was a success? Would you consider it a success?
Well, did anybody die? Nobody died. Could things have been done better? Yeah, everything could be done better. Like, I mean, that's why you do the after action review, and the department started working on it. And it's, we were doing it for other evacuations before. So here, Yellowknife, it just added to the mix of everything that we did. Like ECC started doing the after action review on each fire. So, how we learn things, and, even from the first evacuation to the very last one that we had, you're learning how things are, how you can improve things. Was there still challenges out there? Yeah, there was lots of challenges, but the new action review plans are going to come up with how to fix them, improve them, but you're never going to have a perfect plan.
It was such a collective experience that so many of us went through, even though we all went through it in very different ways. And I certainly found, at least among my friends and colleagues, there was definitely a few moments when we all got back before the election. Which was another big story, of course. But there were a few moments when we got back where we all kind of got to sit with it and think about what we had all just been through. I wonder if you had some of those moments, and if you're comfortable sharing what you felt when the city and the communities were back home and the work never stopped, but perhaps there was a moment for a breath.
I think there's probably 3 moments that resonate with me when I come back. I was actually over here. I was walking, and I was coming into the building, and a lady stopped me and said thank you. And I went, sorry, ma'am, for what? For saving us, for doing what you had to do, for making a difference. And it's very humbling when you have people say that to you, because you're just doing your job. You don't think of it. The other one was when probably the moment where the decision was made to do an afterburn or ignition operation in Hay River. And it was funny because was a colleague, minister at the time, he sent me a text, and he was already evacuated, and he sent me a text and say, Shane, this fire's coming, and it's on the West Channel, and it's big and that. And so he sent me a video of it, and I sat there and I looked at it and I went, huh, that's awesome. And he goes, what do you mean that's awesome? I said, see that helicopter in the background? He goes, yeah, that's an afterburn. It's actually doing the job it was doing. So that was kind of aha moment then when I went to visit. And you sit there and you take the tour and you watch how that operation worked, and a cabin and a trailer was the only thing that got burnt. You could see where the fire actually stopped, and there was all these cabins and motorhomes and trailers didn't even get touched. And again, you know, an operation that did that, they just saved the hospital in Hay River. Fort Smith, 1 degree. And everybody goes, what do you mean 1 degree? The wind blew 1 degree. That was the difference of saving that town. You know, it was, you go see the landscape and see how hot it burnt. But people were coming back home. Probably the worst one for me, though, was in Betchico when we lost those 4 homes. And listening to the firefighters, and they had to be pulled back because the flames were, they couldn't get in front of it. And the devastation that they felt, that they were, you know, letting the community down. So Betchico, Sumbakay, Enterprise, you know, KFN, you know, those are devastations that you sit there and you look at, and, you know, you wish you could have, could have, but couldn't. So those are probably the aha moments that I hated the most about it. And then getting the call that one of the firefighters died in my riding. And I knew him, but I knew his dad even more. And here was, I did his member statement on him, and it's kind of his eulogy. He wanted to be a firefighter so bad that he tried to get on the firefighting crew a year earlier than he was allowed to, you know. And so, you know, those are the sad moments that, you know, you can't fix, but you live with it. But it comes all down to the fact that, you know, you look at the fires that were across Canada and how many homes or people that were killed, and we were fortunate.